It's a great day to rise and grind, good people. It's your main man, Mr. Motivation, checking in with you. Another edition of, you know what it is, rise and grind. So, I got a quick question from someone on my YouTube channel. So, they wanted to know, how can I lose fat if losing weight is not really an issue for me? And that's a perfectly good question. I get asked this question all the time. And it's a threefold question. I mean, honestly, there's several things you want to take in consideration with it. So, first and foremost, you want to think about is, what do I want to look like? What do I want to look like? What is that vision do I have for my body type? You know what I'm saying? So think about what you want to look like. Number two, think about your training. What you want to look like is going to influence your training. Okay? So think about your training methods. How much time you have? How many days per week? Okay? Also, your nutrition. Number three, your nutrition. So there's three things you want to consider when you're thinking about losing fat as opposed to losing weight. Right? Now, I mean, of course, you gotta consider those things also if you're thinking about losing weight as opposed to losing fat, you know. But if you're specifically talking about fat loss only, losing fat when weight is not an issue for you, then you need to consider all three of those things at once. I'll give you an example real quick. So say for example, you look at two different types of athletes. Say you look at a football player, okay, someone that plays football, or someone that is a endurance athlete, triathlete. Different types of people, right? They both look different. They're both in shape. Let's not take anything away from either one of those people. They're both in incredible shape. It's just that their body types are different. So you have to consider what type of body type that you want. So if you want to look more athletic, if you want to look more muscular, you're going to look at the person that's got the athletic shape, which is most likely the athlete, the football player. You know, they could also be maybe a basketball player. They could be a sprinter, someone that does fast, explosive movements on a consistent basis. Now, if you want to be a endurance athlete, triathlons, uh, you're an avid biker, cycling, you're into running marathons, anything that involves endurance, you know, those ultra athlete type people, then you want to look at that type of person. So consider what you want to look like, who you want to look like. Who do you want to look like? Not specifically how that person looks, but how do you want to look? Okay? Number two, their training, as I just touched on a second ago, you want to think about the training that those people do. Okay? So say for example, you got the athlete that plays a specific sport, you know, basketball, football. What are they doing? They're doing a lot of fast, explosive stuff, and then they're stopping. Let's think about a running back, a person that's a running back, so, or maybe even a wide receiver. For that one play, some plays, I mean, you know, they might even last 10 to 12 seconds. So you get the ball, you're trying to get from point A to point B as fast as you can. As fast as you can. Say, for example, you're a basketball player. You get the ball, the inball the ball in the court. You're taking the ball, you're running it down the court. All of a sudden, you see the lane open up where you can make a dash to the rim. Well, at first, they were probably dribbling the basketball at some type of moderate pace for them. Then all of a sudden, they take off extremely fast. Boom, boom, they're gone. Hit to the rim. What is that? Short burst of quick activity. So you're hitting different types of muscle fibers there. Same thing for a sprinter. So if you're a person that runs sprints, what do? They're on a track. They're trying to get from point A to point B as fast as they can, from here to here as fast as they can. So you want to think about that. What type of training is that? High intensity training. High intensity. I'm a big fan of high intense interval training because not only does it appeal to every fitness group, but it's great for maintaining muscle, which is the biggest thing you need to consider when you want to look a certain way. Okay, now flip it on the other side of the coin. You talk about people that are endurance athletes. Think about their type of training. They're trying to sustain a certain pace for a certain amount of time. So they're not doing a lot of fast, explosive stuff. More than anything, they're working on overall conditioning. They're trying to outlast. They're not trying to get to a certain point, or they're trying to get to a certain point within a certain time frame. Let's not take too much away from that sport. They're trying to beat the time. They're trying to be fast, but within it, they're also trying to outlast. They're trying to, sustain. They're trying to keep going. They're trying to keep going. They're trying to keep going. They're trying to sustain some energy. They're trying to keep moving. Okay, so it takes a whole lot more cardiorespiratory endurance as opposed to that of that sprinter or that athlete, that person that's trying to get somewhere really, really fast. Then on top of that, also you got to consider your nutrition. Now, of course, this applies to any goal that you have, all three of them actually. But when it comes to nutrition, what do the sprinters need that the endurance athletes need? They both need certain carb to protein to fat ratios, right? They both got to have, they both have to hit their macros if they're counting them. They both have to have a certain amount of food. But as far as the sprinter, the athlete, their nutrition is very different to that of the endurance athlete. Most endurance athletes that I've met, that I've come in contact with, they do a lot of carb loading to prepare them for a race, to help them sustain that long race they have. So say, for example, they're going to do a marathon. I mean, about a year ago, no, it wasn't even a year ago, it was a couple of months ago, I did, I'm acting like this is a long time ago. It seems so far removed, but I did the St. Jude half for the first time. And the night before, I ate a big bowl of pasta because I knew I needed that energy to help me sustain myself, to help me keep going for 13 miles. And I actually did pretty good. I ran it in 1 hour and 47 minutes. First time ever running any type of race. A little tap on the back right there. Yes, I do want a cookie. If you want to give me one, I need a protein cookie, that'd be fine. I love those. But as far as back to nutrition, the task at hand, what we're talking about, as far as nutrition, it's different. People that do a lot of those fast, explosive stuff, they tend to need a ton more protein because they have more muscle mass. So of course, when you listen to some people, they talk about how much protein a person needs. It's different for each person, but of course, with the athlete, they have way more muscle mass than the person that's an endurance athlete. So they might be, you never know. That person could be like 185 pounds, 200 pounds, 10% body fat. Most of the endurance athletes, of course, although they're probably pretty lean, as far as their the muscle to fat ratio, how much sure shredded up muscle that they have compared to the other person is it's totally different. It's totally different. So, in a nutshell, to recap, 3 things that you want to consider when you want to focus on fat loss as opposed to weight loss. You need to think about what type of body you want. Number 2, you want to focus on what type of training you're going to do. And number 3, focus on your nutrition. With the nutrition, we can also break these down in separate videos, and I'd love to do that for you if you're interested. Just shoot me an email, comment, subscribe to my videos. Give your boy a like. In a nutshell, that's all I gotta say. Rise and grind. I'm out.